Greetings, Reverb Twang. I'm gonna get a professional setup eventually, green screen and all. I wanted to do it years ago, but busy doing other stuff. Today, I'm gonna read the 14 characteristics of fascism. 14 characteristics are: number 1, powerful and continuing nationalism. Fascist regimes tend to make constant use of patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, and other paraphernalia. Flags are seen everywhere as symbols on clothing and public display. Number 2, disdain for the recognition of human rights. Because of fear of the enemies and need for security, the people in fascist regimes are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in certain cases because of the need. The people tend to look the other way or even approve of torture, summary executions, assassinations, long incarcerations of prisoners, etc. Number 3, identification of enemies / scapegoats as a unifying cause, the othering. People are rallied into unifying patriot frenzy over the need to eliminate a perceived common threat or foe. Radical or ethnic or religious minorities, liberals, communists, socialists, terrorists, etc. Number 4, supremacy of the military. Even when there are widespread domestic problems, the military is given a disappropriate amount of government funding and domestic agenda is neglected. Soldiers in military services are glamorized. Number 5, rampant sexism. The governments of fascist nations tend to be almost exclusively male-dominated. Under fascist regimes, traditional gender roles are made more rigid. Oppression to abortion is high, as is homophobia and anti-gay legislation and national policy. Number 6, control mass media. Sometimes the media is directly controlled by the government, but in other cases the media is indirectly controlled by the government regulations or sympathetic media spokespeople and executives. Censorship, especially in war times, is very common. Obsession with national security. Fear is used as a motivation tool by the government over the masses. Number 8, religion and the government are entwined. Government and fascist nations tend to use the most common religion in the nation as a tool to manipulate public opinion. Religious rhetoric and terminology is common from government leaders when the major tenets of a religion are diametrically opposed to the government's policies or actions. Number 9, corporate greed is protected. The industrial and business aristocracy of a fascist nation often are the ones who put the government leaders into power, creating a mutually beneficial business/government relationship and power elite. Number 10, labor power is suppressed because the organizing power of labor is the only real threat to a fascist government. Labor unions are either eliminated entirely or severely suppressed. Number 11, disdain for the intellectuals and the arts. Fascist nations tend to promote and tolerate open hostility to higher educations and academia. It's not uncommon for professors and other academics to be censored or even arrested. Free expression in the arts is openly attacked, and the governments often refuse to fund the arts. Number 12, obsession with crime and punishment. Under fascist regimes, the police are given almost limitless power to enforce laws. People are often willing to overlook police abuse and even forego civil liberties in the name of patriotism. There is often a national police force and virtually unlimited power to fascist nations. Number 13, rampant cronyism and corruption. Fascist regimes almost always governed by groups of friends and associates who appoint each other to government positions and government power and authority to protect their friends from accountability. It is not uncommon in fascist regimes for national resources and even treasures to be appropriately or even outright stolen by government leaders. And number 14, Paul? Number 14 is fraudulent elections. Sometimes the fascist nation are a complete sham. Other times elections are manipulated by smear campaigns against or even assassination of opposition candidates. The use of legislation to control voting numbers or political district boundaries and manipulation of the media. Fascist nations always typically use their judiciaries to manipulate or control the system. So there you have it. There's the 14 characteristics of fascism. Have a nice day, folks.